This first video is an open letter to Dr. David Keith, who is one of the most prominent proponents of geoengineering today. We've published our letter, which we're sending out today on our website. If you do a Google search for Chemtrails Project UK, or just go to chemtrailsprojectuk.com, and then if you go to the news section, and then you'll find it. It's called an open letter to Dr. David Keith. Now, if you're not familiar, the letter itself is based on an interview that Dr. David Keith did with this guy here, Stephen Colbert, on an American mainstream TV program called The Colbert Report. So if you're not familiar with that video, you can watch it. If you scroll down to the bottom of this article, towards the bottom you can see there's a full video there. So you can watch that if you're not familiar with the video. It's 6 minutes 22 seconds long. There's also a video at the top of this page which includes highlights from that interview along with some other stuff which are also quite relevant to geoengineering. So I'd recommend watching both of them. Actually, they're both very good videos. And so basically, if you watch those videos, and I think the majority of people watching it will be as concerned as I was with what Dr. David Keith had to say, which is what's prompted this letter that I've written to him. So this is the letter. Dear Dr. Keith, I have seen your Colbert Report interview where you appear to publicise and promote the idea of stratospheric aerosol geoengineering, namely the spraying of thousands of tons of toxic substances into our atmosphere as an attempt to fight global warming. SAG, by your own admission, is expected to kill 10,000 people in the first year alone. Of further concern is the overwhelming amount of evidence that indicates such practices are not mere proposals but are already happening in our skies. Incidentally, as you will find in the directive, this would not be the first time the UK population has been covertly sprayed. Please would you provide me your responses to each of the following questions. Number 1. Aircraft trails that persist, spread and block out the sunlight are now being witnessed on a near daily basis in the UK and other countries. So why are you presenting the notion of blocking out sunlight with aircraft trails as a new possibility for the future when it is something that is clearly happening already? Number 2. With the SAG proposal, why are you promoting the spraying of toxic chemicals such as sulfuric acid and/or aluminium oxide to block out our sunlight when we are already observing that the same effects, according to our government, can be achieved with natural condensation trails? Number 3. If you believe the sun cannot be blocked out by natural condensation trails, do you concur that all these persistent spreading trails that we now witness blocking out our sunlight cannot be composed of essentially pure ice, and are therefore not ordinary condensation trails? Number 4. To what extent do you believe the plethora of persistent spreading aircraft trails that we witness today may be contributing to climate change? Number 5. If SAG were to commence officially with the spraying of thousands of tons of aluminium oxide, should we expect our lower atmosphere to exhibit a grey/silvery haze, much like how we already witness on a near daily basis? Number 6. Would we also experience high levels of aluminium content in rainwater, much like how we are experiencing today? Number 7. Would it also be reasonable to expect that, being military planes, the vast majority of geoengineering aircraft leaving persistent trails would not appear on real-time commercial flight tracking services such as Flight Radar 24 and Plane Finder, just as we witness today? Number 8. Could we also expect that these unidentifiable planes be the ones that would often leave grid patterns in the sky, again just like we are experiencing today? Number 9. To what extent do you believe the persistent spreading sunlight blocking trails that we now commonly experience are contributing to the acknowledged phenomenon of global dimming. Number 10. As a result of spraying 20,000 tonnes of sulfuric acid into the atmosphere, you say there will be around 10,000 deaths in the first year. Do you regard that as an acceptable death rate? And, taking into account the higher incidence of terminal illnesses that will result from these activities, along with the increased amounts that will be sprayed in the following years, by how much might the annual death rate increase as time goes on? Number 11. What happened to the suggestion of putting 20 million tonnes of aluminium into the atmosphere, as you proposed in 2010 at the AAAS conference in San Diego? And what would be the associated annual death rates expected in this scenario? Number 12. You admit concerns over which country controls the SAG thermostat and allude to possible resulting conflict. On a similar note, does it concern you that chemtrails were described in the first draft of the USA's Space Preservation Act as an exotic weapons system, but was later omitted? I.e., does it concern you that the USA has not only alluded to technologies similar to SAG being used for military gain, but has also made efforts to conceal it, and, by association, may use SAG with that same military intention? I look forward to your response to each of these questions. Sincerely, James Hotchkiss. P.S. This is an open letter published at chemtrailsprojectuk.com and geoengineeringwatch.org, where our future correspondence will also be published. And so I'm going to send this. That's the letter, and I'm going to be sending this to Dr. David Keith today at his address, which he has on his Harvard page. And like I say, there, as soon as I get a response, we'll be updating the website, and also we'll do another YouTube video for that. So if you want to subscribe to this YouTube channel, or just visit the website so you get the latest responses and correspondence between us.